All right. Hi, guys. So, have you ever wanted to make a change in your life, but you didn't make that change because you were afraid of what someone close to you might say? Likely that someone is probably your parents. And if they are, what was that? I want to kind of reacquaint you. What was that change that you wanted to make? What was that decision that you wanted to make? A friend of mine, this is going back years ago when I had first started my coffee company. A friend of my father's asked my father if I would meet with he and his son because I had started my own business and I was at the very early stages. So I guess I was honored by the request. He goes, I'd like to have your son meet with my son and kind of give him some guidance. So we were there. He was, I think his son was doing accounting. I don't exactly remember what it was. And while he was doing it, I said, well, listen, I traveled. I said, I traveled after college. I turned down job opportunities with some big financial institutions because it was my desire to travel first. And as a result of that, I decided that, you know what, I don't want to go into finance. That I actually interned in finance. I said that was it. So we went on, we talked over a period of like maybe an hour over pizza. And then later on, he left. I think I might have had a follow-up conversation with him one other occasion. Later on, his father called my father. He said, what the hell did your son tell my son? He goes, he quit his job and he's now working at a deli. And my father's like, well, what the hell did you tell him? I was like, well, I told him to follow his heart, to do what he felt was right. And I encouraged him to travel, which he ended up doing. He ended up traveling for a little bit and then working at a deli. Fast forward, he ended up becoming a part owner in that deli. But it's funny how our parents, they want the best for us. But they have these expectations as to how our life is supposed to be, when that's for no one else to decide but ourselves. When I spoke with him, this person, I'm not going to say his name, he told me that he was actually, I said, well, how's everything? He goes, I'm happy. I was so miserable in that job that now I'm doing something that I'm passionate about. He was playing hockey a lot more. He was traveling a little bit and just being, and I saw on his Facebook photos that he was just enjoying life. He was just kind of being a kid in a way. And I don't mean it like in a juvenile way, but you could tell by the pictures he was posting that he was happy. So we discount that a lot. We think that, well, you know what? Well, this is what we need to be happy, or this is what we should have at this age. When whose rules are that? I used to do that with siblings. So, like my siblings around me were getting married. My friends were getting married. Everyone was having kids. I'm looking at them like, oh my God, I need to get going. But the truth of the matter was that I'm not ready for kids. And nor am I ready for marriage. And when I find the right person, I will be ready for marriage. But right now, I am not. But then look at so many of the relationships that I've seen around me. And a lot of people settle. They settle for connection versus love. They settle just for the status quo. They settle for a job that they're not really happy in. But it pays the bills and they don't really want to shake the boat and take risk for going something that is really going to mean something to them, really that's going to fulfill them. And I look at that and I said, you know what? I'm doing pretty good. But it all comes from just shifting what you're focusing on. To leave you with something there for you to just kind of ponder, if there is a decision that you've been thinking about making in your life, think of that decision. What is that one item that you were thinking about changing? What's going to happen if you don't change? If you don't decide to take that trip? If you don't decide to start that business that you're so passionate about? If you don't decide to say yes to the person you love or say no to the person you don't any longer? What does that look 5 years out from now? Is your life going to be better or worse? If you make no change, it's going to get worse because if things aren't worked on, they don't improve, they get worse. If you're at the same place you are 5 years from now, you're worse. Now, what would happen if you made that change? Think about it. What would happen if you actually made the change that you were contemplating? immediately after it, likely it's going to be very uncomfortable, because that's the reason why you're fearing the change. That's the reason why you're in the situation that you're in, is because you're fearing that initial change. But like everything, once there's a little bit of time to it, whatever you were afraid of before, you look at it and you're like, what the heck was I? What was I afraid of? What was I thinking? But then look out, what is the result of being that change 5 years from now? Likely you'll be able to vision that it's a much better life. In order to get there, it requires you to step through your fear. One of the things I've been very conscious of, this would be my finishing note, is just being aware of these kind of like these knee-jerk reactions that I feel inside. And it's all around fear that I encounter and pushing against the comfort zone that I have. And that comfort zone could be speaking my truth, stating my opinion. Because sometimes I wouldn't state my opinion because I don't want to rock the boat, or I don't want people to dislike me. And that courage, so that whenever you get that feeling, don't think of it as fear preventing you from doing it. Think of it as your body telling you, go, go, and pushing you forward. That's all I got for you guys today. If you enjoyed this post, I encourage you to check out the podcast, One Life Podcast with Donny Raus. Again, One Life Podcast with Donny Raus. I do an episode every single week. If you like it, subscribe. If you're listening to it, take a screenshot, share it to your social media, invite your friends to, invite your friends to come listen, and we will kind of create a world where people are following their hearts, people are living the day, because this is all we have. So my intention here, by speaking with you on this camera live, is that you kind of like, I stir up some of those emotions, those feelings that are inside that you've maybe been ignoring for a while. And then you look at them and you be like, you know what? Yeah, I wanted to do this, but I've been saying no because I'm afraid of what my parents may say, or I'm afraid of what my friends may say, or I'm afraid that it might be, cause financial instability, whatever it is. And I'm trying to stir that. I want to stir that pot. So this way you can make that change and do the change that you know that you need to make, the change that'll make you happier. And that is it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this post. Again, subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're watching on Facebook, give it a like and a share. God bless, and I